Okay.
Yeah, here. It's right there. Oh, no, back.
You should have a sample.
We
We should have sampled. We should have a chance to sample.
Okay, you guys want to have a vote?
Huh?
You guys want to have a vote too?
No, we don't want to vote, just a sample.
Just the samples? We can do that. Do that for next year.
We gotta wait a whole year?
Yeah, we might. I'll talk to Chills. See maybe we can get some cotton candy ice cream. Bubble gum. I'm sorry, bubble gum. It's the wrong color. That's the problem. Bubble gum should be purple, not blue. That's what I keep thinking.
Is it purple?
No, it's blue.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I think cotton candy. When I
Oh,
think about it,
okay.
All right, 7 o'clock. Call the August 7th DeSoto City Council meeting to order. We'll start with roll call, please.
Yeah. Lane.
Here.
Patterson.
Here.
Hanamichael.
Here.
McBrien.
Here.
Daniels. Mayor, it appears Councilor Daniels is absent.
All right. I would now invite you all to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first item tonight is our consent agenda. Tonight on the consent agenda, we have item A, approve the minutes from the July 17th council meeting. Item B, approve pay ordinance number 1002. Item C, approve ordinance 2658, adopting the 2025 standard traffic ordinance. Item D, approve ordinance 2659, adopting the 2025 Uniform Public Offense Code. And item E, approve temporary use permit for the Dean Weller Cruise event. Is there any item anyone would wish to move for further discussion? If not, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane.
Yes.
Hanamichael.
Yes.
McBrien.
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
Mayor Walker on item E.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item 2 is call to public. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to comment about any matter relating to city business that is not on tonight's agenda. The comments that are discussed under call to public may or may not be acted on by the council during this meeting. Is there anyone who would wish to address the council under call to public? Seeing none, we'll move on. Item 3 is old business. We don't have any, so we'll go to item 4A, consider cereal malt beverage license for KJ's Pizzeria. We have a public hearing and then consideration of a resolution.
Yes, Mayor and Council. This is a request for a cereal malt beverage license for KJ's Pizzeria in downtown DeSoto. While these licenses are typically placed on consent agenda, this application will require an additional step from council. City code requires the council approve a waiver and a resolution for businesses within 200 feet of a school or church. According to Ames measurements, from closest point to closest point, KJ's Pizzeria is 158 feet from Reach Church. The approval process includes publishing a notice in the official newspaper of record, holding a public hearing, and adopting a resolution granting the waiver. Staff has not received any comments or questions about this permit, about this license. And so with that, Mayor, I stand for any questions and ask you to open the public hearing for the CMB license.
All right. Any questions for Brandon before I open the public hearing? All right. With that, I'm going to officially open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to offer comment regarding the cereal malt beverage for KJ's Pizzeria, please come to the mic, state your name and address.
I would say, Mayor, the applicant is here if you'd like to say anything.
You can or you
Yeah.
don't have to, Rod, whatever you
Well,
prefer.
thank you for considering it, and I appreciate that very much. So we're just looking to get a couple of little small kegs, little kegerators, just two. We've been requested, 1,000 times, do we have beer?
I've only asked you 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, those have been in a lot. They just gave up on that. But my wife and I recently, we bought the building. So we have it downstairs now. And we were able to do fountain soda, ice machine. We'd like to get the beer in there. It would definitely help with revenue. The margins on food is really high compared to, just about any restaurant will pretty much tell you if you're just relying on food, you're going to need to have some really super volume traffic, and there's like fast food comes in and stuff of that nature. So we want to just be able to kind of offset some of those higher price things, but while still giving our employees raises, because you can't run a good business without good employees, and they're not going to stay if you don't give them the reason to stay, and that's usually an incentive. Want a good workplace, and the most important, a good wage. And so that's why we were requesting to sell beer, just to make a little bit more profit.
All right. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, I'm going to close the public hearing. Any questions or comments from the council before we move on to the resolution? Or a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2071 as presented and approve the cereal malt beverage license for KJ's Pizzeria.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
Honmichael,
Yes.
McBrand,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, you can get back to making pizzas, Rod. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A lovely night.
All right. Item 4B, discuss residential goat ownership regulations.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, we did receive a complaint about 2 goats at 8510 Wea Street. And according to city code, goats are only allowed in the RA, RO, and R1 zoning districts. 8510 is in the RH district. It's also on less than 2 acres, which is also required by our city code. So staff proceeded with a complaint and told the owner they had to remove the goats. However, there's been some discussion on potentially removing or looking at the current city code for goats. And basically, on a little background for you, in 2017, we had a request from a resident to have Nigerian pygmy goats or miniature goats. And we went through the process, and at that time, the council directed the planning commission to make a recommendation. Now, as Patrick's pointed out to me, this is not part of the zoning code, so it can be a city council issue, but that the council at the time chose to have an independent body look at this and bring back a recommendation. So at that time, we did some research, found Douglas County, Lawrence had quite a bit of information on having goats in a more urban area. also the city of Lenexa. And then, of course, we looked at our own standard, and we didn't have any kind of standard for miniature goats in DeSoto. So at that time, the Planning Commission did make a recommendation to amend the city code to allow Nigerian pygmy goats or miniature goats with some stipulations, and they are more specific to the breed. It can't be too tall. The owners must provide a shed. There's a size of lot size, and also Planning Commission wanted it to be more towards the larger lots. So that's why it's in the R1, RO, and RA district. So they didn't want to encourage any kind of livestock or any kind of what would be more considered a farm animal in downtown areas or residential, more dense residential developments. So that's what the city council adopted at the time. Of course, there are some, the goats have apparently been there for several years now. They haven't caused any issues, but it is a violation of our city code. So basically, we're asking direction from the city council to either A, proceed with, not change the city code and proceed with the enforcement action, or give staff some time to go back and research these items and find that or make a recommendation. Either A, we can work directly with city council, or you can send it to the Planning Commission. I'm sure they'd be happy to look at this. I think one of the things that was interesting about some of the information we looked at, and even looking at some of the things within our city code, is we have a section on Julienne pigs where it doesn't have anything about the size or particular. It's just more about the nuisance ordinance, where the goats have very specific things about it. Must be in this district, this size acreage. And I can tell you there are some varying sizes of lots from different communities. So really, it really kind of boiled down to the Planning Commission's recommendation ultimately was adopted by the city council, was we wanted to keep more farm livestock animals in the larger lots on the east side. So, but once again, the issue before us is, are these goats a problem? Are they really any different than a couple of large dogs? And so with that, we're just asking for some direction. We're certainly very happy to go back and research this and see if there's been any updates within other communities about keeping livestock within a more dense rural area. So with that, I will stand for any questions you may have.
Any questions for Brad?
Just, sorry, I was just gonna make one clarification, Brad, on the pigs. I was here when we implemented that change. Those, and I don't know if they're still a thing, but those were sort of like a pet dog. I mean,
Yes,
they
were.
come in the house, they, are sort of like a dog, and you are limited to just having one of them, so.
Victoria.
Yes, so I asked that this be brought, and I had done some research on these types of goats, and these types of goats, honestly, they only need 200 square feet. That's the minimum that they need. So an acre is a lot. So I don't see the necessary for 2 goats, 2 acres. I know there was an issue with noise, the smell of them possibly, and I mean, it's like a pet. If you don't take care of your pet, yeah, it's gonna smell. A dog's loud, dogs bark. So, and these goats are so quiet. So, I did ask that the residents come. I know they have some information, some support.
All right, so before I have the residents or the owners speak up, just if anybody else had any questions or comments for staff.
How many goats are there?
There are 2 goats on the
2
property,
goats, okay.
which is what we require for the miniature goats, is because if there's only one, that's when they get loud, as I understand it, because they
Yeah, it's
get
better
lonely.
to have to. I will agree with that.
Right, so.
Pain.
Oh, my comment was really on the existing language. And if we go into looking at this, I was kind of confused where we say, we're talking about 2017 language. Goats shall be permitted on any parcel of land that's 2 acres more zone, blah, blah, blah. Following additional requirements are met. A minimum of 2 goats are kept. which I guess is, now that answered my question, I guess, is why the minimum of 2?
Yeah.
It's further out. So.
Right,
Okay.
they get lonely and then they start crying for some companionship.
Yeah.
Not that I'm an expert, I'm not.
Yeah, and I guess I can see when thinking about the difference of these, are we trying to what extent is livestock, if you will, being considered within the city versus, as a goat pet, probably miniature horses, whatever it may be, where do you regulate animals as pets, or what kind of an animal can be a pet? I don't have an issue at all with looking into this. I don't have a hard stance against it because I think it probably could be a pet. But I'm glad you explained why there's a minimum of 2.
All right. Anything before we, so Larry, if you or your wife wanted to come up and share some comments.
My wife is.
Okay. Just for the record, would you just state your name and address before you begin your comment?
I'm Jenny Baxter. I live on 8510 Wea Street, and I am the owner of Kevin and Steve. That is the name of our goats. And I brought paperwork for you, fact sheets. I have letters of support for them. They're just pets. Sorry, I get really anxious on public speaking. But something else that I wanted to address too is it's in the city ordinance. It says about dehorning. And I want everybody to understand the importance of a goat's horn. It is not harmful. I guess it could be. Mine are not. Mine have never bucked anything but each other. And that is how they dispel heat in this excessive heat that we've had. And it's kind of like a dog and panting. And so where we had weeks on end of high 90s, the heat index of 110, they were fine. They have ample of shade and everything too, which helps, but they're 3 years old. So to dehorn them, it's just inhumane. And so I would like for that to be reconsidered as well, along with that they are just pets. That's all we do to Kim. I collect some of their poop for them so that it can go in the flower gardens for what?
Fertilizer.
Yeah. What's poop? I told you I don't do good at these public speaking things. I actually, in my notes, I put feces. So anyway, that's just where we are on it. I mean, they are my pets. We clean their shed out. I sweep it out every day. I give them fresh water every day. They've got ample amounts of hay, and they are quiet. They only speak when I come out, and even then, there are dogs out there that are louder than them. And some of my neighbors are here to testify that they don't smell them, they don't hear them, they're not a ruckus to them. So.
Okay.
I just have a question. So if, just throwing it out there as an option, if the council was to pass an ordinance like allowing goats, from a date like today back, like, is it your intention if these goats pass away, you want to get more goats? Or I just wonder if it's just about these 2 goats, if we could craft something to just address that situation instead of, opening up that anyone in downtown can have goats.
Right.
So.
Well, as stated earlier, they are a herd animal. So if I have one that passes, then yes, I will get another goat because I can't just have one. It is a stated known fact that they wander. They do become a nuisance, and they will cry out because they only have one.
And that's understand. I think
Yeah.
we probably could address that as well, but.
Yeah.
So
So-
just a thought.
So are you thinking in that vein, it'd be like a special use permit or something, or what? As opposed to a blanket?
No, there's a mechanism you can essentially get rid of non-conforming uses where you, like we would pass an ordinance saying any goats, within the city on today's date, that those are legal, but nothing moving forward. So it would just, if anybody's concerned about, gosh, we're just going to have goats running everywhere, that would be a way to limit it to the situation instead of opening it up. So.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Do they have, I mean, I guess we can talk about a lot of things, like would they be licensed or registered, like your dog license, pet tag or whatever? We talk about all kinds of.
Yeah, right, the
Yeah.
mechanism or the process.
Yeah, that way you would have theoretically identified where they are.
Any questions for the owner of, Jim and Steve?
Kevin and Steve.
Kevin and
They're my minions, is why they're named that. So.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. You want, okay. You want, that's the one that has, sorry. That was just that one.
Thank you.
Kim, without naming names, do you know, are there any other goats similar to yours in town?
Not that I know of, but I also, I like, done some things like that, I just like to myself.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So Mayor, I think the
Oh.
ask tonight is to make a decision on the code enforcement. The letter, the 30 days expire next week.
Right.
So that is kind of a pressing matter in front of you tonight.
Yeah, so as I understood your memo, then we could, if we as a body decide that we as the body should consider it, or we want to pass it down to planning commission, we need to first suspend the enforcement action on Steve and Jim.
Yes.
Kevin, I see, I'm gonna make one of them Jim, no matter what.
Yeah,
But that would be step one, and then we would
yeah, come back and,
decide, do we want to go kind of through that same process we did before, where the planning commission would kind of be the
The lead.
body that would gather the information and bring forth a recommendation, or do we want to keep that up here?
So this would need a motion to suspend the enforcement action?
Correct.
Yes.
For,
Oh.
I think there was at least 120 days there
When the-
to give us time to figure out what we need to do.
I'll make a motion to suspend code enforcement action for 120 days regarding two goats at 8510 Wea Street, to allow staff to research and propose a revision to the city code to be considered through the planning commission process.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Hannah Michael,
Yes.
McBrien,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right. So then our next step then is to decide how we want to manage review of the goat ordinances we have. Do we want to keep that here with this body? Do we want to go back to recommend, ask for help from planning commission?
I did include in
Yeah,
my
no,
motion
oh, I'm sorry.
to ask to go through the planning commission process.
Shut
So,
that part off.
okay, that's okay. Yes. Everybody seemed to agree, so
Sorry.
that's all right.
I had it in my head. It was a two-step process, and you're not going to get me off that.
Being efficient here.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for bringing a crowd with you tonight to support.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
On these, on that page where the proposed changes and current rules and where'd you get the current rules and stuff? And I just wanted to ask that before you left.
On the second page.
And that's on our
That's
ordinance?
oral.
Yeah, that's
Oh, okay. Okay, so that would be after something that the planning commission did
Right.
that at that time.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's all I wanted to know, because I just wanted to confer that where you had that, so, okay, thank you. Thank you, man.
Sure. I've got the petition here. I'm gonna.
Yeah, you pass it down.
pass that around.
I'll include it in the
Keep
meeting minutes.
that with the record.
Hey, can I ask, can you email me this, just so I have a digital copy of it?
I can do that.
And I'll connect with Victoria.
Okay. That sounds great.
All right. Item C. Consider ordinance 2660 rezoning approximately 63 acres at the northeast corner of Evening Star Road and K-10 Highway from Johnson County RUR to C2.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Just as an aside, it's interesting. Makes my job interesting. I've looked up information on Jersey barriers and sizes, weights, how they're attached to roads, playhouses, native wildflowers in people's backyards, and all sorts of things. So and now we're looking at our goat ordinance again. So sometimes it's good to have these discussions. It just makes life a lot more interesting, a lot more fun at times. So before you, Mayor, you have a rezoning request for 2 tracts of property, approximately 40 acres. In May, the city council annexed 5 tracts of ground owned by Clearview LLC. The applicant, G.W. Wells, is here tonight. If you'd like questions from him. And there was a request for rezoning to R3, and that subsequently was removed. Planning Commission did not recommend approval of that request to the city council, so it was pulled came before the city council. The applicant then resubmitted a request for rezoning to C2. So after that request came in, we did the basic steps. We put up the signs, advertised for a public hearing, sent out notification letters for 1,000 feet from the 2 tracts of property. Also, the minutes from the Planning Commission meeting on July 22nd are attached. For this rezoning request, there has not been a protest petition filed for this particular item. I did go to the Planning Commission last month. As you can see, the two tracts for consideration that were originally requested for R3. Actually, the tract right above the C2 was not even requested. This is a second. It was an admission by the property owner. Didn't request that tract in the initial rezoning request. However, these 2 tracts are now being considered for C2 business general. As you can see on the next slide, the area is very rural. It's north of K-10 and Evening Star. There's no sanitary sewer or other utilities that typically you would see in more urban developments, especially ones being requested for a business general use, which is a fairly intense use. However, when you look at our land use plan and all the information that we've been going through in the last 2 years with Panasonic development and ultimately consideration of what was going to happen at the SRL, 9,000 acres of property, the fact that we've got an interstate highway and essentially an interchange, the types of things that you see at those types of locations. This is a very similar staff report to what we went through last month when you did approve 3 of the tracts for C2. So I'm not going to go through all these things in detail. There's very little change from what you were presented last month on this item. As far as this goes, it's one of those things that always comes up as cities grow. They annex property, they go out into rural areas. A lot of the folks in the rural areas aren't accustomed to or don't like the change. But this is part of our whole process of growth and development. It's part of our comprehensive plan. It's been there for 20 plus years, especially on these nodes for Evening Star, Edgerton Road, Lexington, and ultimately Kill Creek Road as well. So with that, I will stand for any questions you may have. The staff report, once again, as I said, was very similar to what we went through last time. Planning Commission did recommend the previous C2 consideration to the planning commission for approval, and they also recommended this one as an approval item as well.
Okay.
So with that, I'll stand for any questions you have, Mayor.
Any questions for Brad? All right. I know it's not a public hearing item, but if there's anyone here that would like to speak to the audience regarding this item, I know the applicant's here as well. I would open that opportunity up. I'm not seeing any takers. Any discussion or thoughts from council? No, I don't think we're ready for a motion.
I do have a question on the legal description for that because it's excluding the piece that is south of K10, the little,
The little
Triangle.
triangle on the south side, yeah.
and I didn't plot the legal description, but the legal description refers to the quarter section, less that part of the highway. I'm not sure that that we're actually excluding that little triangle from the rezoning ordinance. Can the applicant speak to that? Or,
We're, as far as I
Brandon.
know, we are not. It is being rezoned, that little triangle.
okay, well, the little map showed it as, it shows it as Xed out. The little,
Well,
The map on
I will
page
say that was
4.
my error. When I clicked on the track, that's where I happened to click on it. That's why that X is there. So that
oh,
actually,
that's just the selection of.
yes, correct. So
Okay, I was.
you
thinking
clearly
were-
have got into Ames before and used the tool.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what's happened there.
Okay, so it is included. Okay,
Yes, it is.
That's all.
All right.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2660, providing for the amendment of the DeSoto official zoning map for the city of DeSoto to change the zoning of 2 tracts of land of approximately 63 acres located in the proximity of the northeast corner of Evening Star Road and K10 Highway from Johnson County zoning RUR to city of DeSoto zoning district C2 business general district.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane.
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
Hanamichael.
Yes.
McMoran.
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item D, consider ordinance 2661 approving the city's official zoning map.
All right, thank you, Mayor. As we've gone through a lot of changes in DeSoto, we have updated our zoning map. We haven't gone through the public hearing process with the planning commission, just to affirm the exact zoning districts. This information is on our website. It's also available on Johnson County Mapping Ames program. So it's a very transparent document, but we've not gone through the official process of adopting the zoning map. So in discussions with Mike and Patrick, we thought it was appropriate at this time to bring this back forward through the planning commission with the public hearing and make sure that all the zoning matches the recent annexations, the recent applications, and all those items that we've gone through in the last 5 or 6 years. This map does match those, and we're asking approval of the zoning map effective August 7th, 2025.
Okay. Any questions for Brad on the zoning map ordinance? There we go. Does this reflect the rezoning that we just did?
Yes, it does. That's why we did it after. At one point, we were going to have it before, but thought, well, you never. Yes, exactly. I did also want to add, Mayor, we're going to bring the land use map to the planning commission this month for discussion, for updating that. And then after we get through that process, we will start a comprehensive plan update.
All right, good. Any other comments or questions from council? Ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 zoning map for the city of DeSoto as presented.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane.
Yes.
Hanamichael.
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
McMoran.
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item E, consider ordinance 2662, creating a rural housing incentive district and approving a development agreement for Arbor Ridge.
Yes, council, this item has been before you previously as far as the development. It is a residential development around 68 acres on the eastern side of DeSoto within the Arbor Ridge subdivision. We held the public, well, prior to the last meeting, a development plan was submitted by the developer showing public improvements that are required as part of the plan. So at the last meeting, we held a public hearing on that plan, and we closed the public hearing. In that interim time, we did finalize a development agreement that sort of addresses the nuts and bolts of the process. And there is an ordinance creating the district. So essentially the action tonight is you officially creating the district over the 68 acres, and also authorizing a 60% increment over 25 years. Under the statutes, you could grant 100% increment for the full 25 years. The request here is for 60%. Again, this is not, the city's not financing this project. This is simply the developers developing the property to create increased tax revenue. And then part of that increase here, 60%, is allowed to go towards the developer's cost for public improvements. And the public improvements we have here are things such as interior streets. It's also 89th Street. There are improvements required of 89th Street. Trying to remember, I think there's one other. Yeah, so reconstruction of the existing 89th Street, which will also include a turn lane into Kill Creek. The expenses for the public improvements are extensive. The total is about $24 million cost. By the development agreement, the developer is limited to being reimbursed for $21 million. So there's a cap at $21 million. So any other expenses over and above the $21 million for public improvements would be on the developer. So with that, really, we just need a motion to adopt the ordinance, and that will approve the development agreement and create the district.
All right. I noticed Jeff White's on the line as well. I do have one question before we move on. Just clarification, since the developer won't own the property, after, they're going to sell homes, the taxes are going to be collected. They won't see as the property owner, they won't be the property owner. So what is the mechanism to repay the developer from that tax increment on the property over the 20 years? Could you or Jeff, because my wife asked me that question and I went into an explanation, and then I said, you know what, I'll just have Jeff or Patrick.
So there'll be, and Jeff, feel free to jump in, but there'll be a fund that the 60% for the 25 years will go into, and the developer, even they can seek reimbursement for the entire period. Jeff, is that your understanding as well?
All right, thank you for that explanation. Any? I will. Any questions from council on that? All right. Someone ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2662 as written, forming a RHID district and approving the plan and development agreement.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? One question, just, so the protest timing for the school district, has that elapsed now, or is that still?
No, it started running at the conclusion of the public hearing at your last meeting, which was July 17th. So
they would still have time, even though we've created the district to
Correct.
veto our
Yeah.
action. Okay.
just makes it null and void.
Just
So,
clarification for my benefit. All right.
Was there any start dates or anything that?
there are deadlines and clawbacks in the development agreement. If they don't get started or they don't complete the lots within a certain period, their cap will start diminishing. So we were mindful of that, and the overall deadline is 6 years to have all of the lots ready. But given the upfront capital expenditures they're going to have to make, the developer, for all these public improvements, I mean, as they've mentioned numerous times, they have all the motivation in the world to, get these going, to try to get their money recouped. So we're comfortable that we're protected.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Patrick.
All right. Roll call, please.
McNamara,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item F, consider change orders for the City Hall renovation project.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I am filling in for Mike, who is filling in for Cameron. This is a request for a change order to install handrails on the second floor and garden level of City Hall. The handrails are required by building codes. However, unfortunately, the existing walls cannot support the design that was specified for the project. So to meet the code requirements, the handrails will be mounted to the floor instead of on the wall. The total cost of this change order is $18,150, which will be funded from the project contingency. I'll stand for any questions.
All right, any questions for Brandon on this?
Cameron is online, but I think he's traveling.
Danny, look, I have a question.
I'm just hoping that.
I know we're coming to the end of the contingency. I hope we're at the end of the change order. That's right.
Yeah,
I thought it was over.
Yeah.
I would say that we're wrapping up phase one, which is the upstairs, the garden level, which is where we thought most of the change orders would come from.
Yeah.
So we're hoping when we do this floor, not as many change orders.
I did do a quick tour this afternoon, and it is starting to look like a finished space. There are rooms that have light fixtures hung. The big thing you can see that we don't have, like, there's some big windows that we're still missing that are a little bit delayed. So that's kind of holding things up. But it is starting to look like some very functional, usable space for us. So.
You gotta love remodeling an old building.
Ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the city administrator to sign change order 33 in the amount of $18,150.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
McBride,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Unmichael.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Item G, consider agreement with Columbia Capital Management LLC.
Yes, council, you recall this item was on the last meeting's agenda. And Councilman Daniels raised some concerns. Essentially, as I recall it, that, you know, what if we wanted someone in-house to do this? So Jeff and I worked on language to, it's up to the city. If we decide we want a in-house person to do this, that's fine. We would just start doing that. Also that, you know, the way the process would work is Jeff would essentially submit to the city an outline of what reporting and compliance he's going to do. That would be, you know, approved by the city. So feel like we addressed those concerns adequately. We are under a little bit of a time crunch because under the new legislation that was sort of a surprise to many people, we're within 45 days of having to make that reporting to the state. And it's not an insignificant thing because if we don't properly do that reporting, the city's ability to issue IRBs could be affected. So, and as we talked before, we really don't have the in-house staff or expertise to do all of this compliance and reporting. So Jeff White obviously represents numerous cities in the area, and he's offering this service to other cities as well. So he'll have a, you know, uniform mechanism to do this reporting for us. And Jeff is obviously, he's online. I don't know, Jeff, if you want to add anything. And Jeff, would you agree? I mean, the way the contract's structured, if there were any, you know, other concerns or issues, certainly those could be addressed, you know, next week, next month. This isn't a, you know, forever thing.
And then year 10, when it gets a lot simpler and it's just, we can take it back over then, right? RHID, yeah. Yeah. 25. Exactly. So never made direct requests of me, but I have heard that Rob had asked this might be tabled again. I'm not comfortable doing that because we are under a time crunch. Since he was not going to be here, he wanted to offer comment, but I think he had opportunity to do that through email while he was away. And so I'm not comfortable delaying the meeting, so I'd ask that we would go ahead and take action on this tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't be comfortable delaying it either. I think we're a little bit under the gun already. Question though, in terms of the administration of this, since there is that flexibility or whatever in terms of maybe staff could do a piece part here, a piece part there, I'm presuming that this is going to be fully administered by the city administrator and that it's under the city administrator's direction to execute this contract.
That would be my understanding. Just to caveat though, so right now on the tax abatements, you'll recall, like with custom foods, we had pretty extensive clawback provisions. And so each year, and I still do, that's something that I review and make sure they're in compliance. And I probably will continue to do that, particularly with, you'll notice with tax abatements recently, we haven't had like employment numbers. We just aren't really doing that anymore. And so that's really a pretty easy process. Brandon will, he gets forms from the county. I'll take a look at all the abatements we have and make sure that, there's nothing in the agreement that they're not in compliance with. For example, membership in the chamber, things like that.
And I'm not talking about the requirements of the development agreements, that kind of thing. I'm just talking about the application of the units of the cost that's getting paid to Columbia Capital. Because this will be kind of an ongoing, probably monthly invoiced. Is this monthly or quarterly?
And I'm not sure, Jeff, would you invoice monthly or quarterly?
Yeah. No, I understand that part. I'm just, when we get into the comment about city anticipates engaging Columbia Capital on a project basis at the city's full discretion, I'm wanting to make sure that we're clear that that's at the city administrator's full discretion. And not that the council is not that we're expecting to be administering this at a council level.
Yeah,
I would be fully anticipating we're administering this at the city administrator level.
Yeah.
And that we're just approving the monthly invoices or whatever on an ongoing basis for the next 20 years.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't want that to be a confusion. So I guess with that, I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Columbia Capital Municipal Advisors included in Exhibit B of the packet tonight with modifications shown on the letter dated July 29th, 2025.
Second that. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Michael,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
McMorran.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item H, consider agreement with Burns and McDonnell and CAS joint venture for study relating to industrial wastewater treatment.
Yes, Council. Mike provided a memo in the packet that explains this. Jeff Keller with Burns and Mac is here. Essentially just doing this requested by a potential economic development project. They are paying for it, but it still is a city contract. So Jeff, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Happy to answer any questions. Anybody has any?
Any questions for Patrick or Jeff regarding this contract? It's passed. So development needs some information. We've asked Burns and Mac to provide it through our previous arrangement. And so the developer, potential developers paying for it, Burns and Mac's providing the information to the team, and we're the conduit for that to happen. We don't have any questions. Are we ready for a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the agreement with Burns and McDonnell and CAS joint venture for a study related to industrial wastewater treatment, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement attached as Exhibit B.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
McMorran,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Huntermeyer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. No executive session, so we'll go on to advisory reports. I'll start with you, Brandon, since you are filling in as our city.
Oh, got it. I don't have a lot today. I did want to just make council aware of, and I brought it up here on the screen here. The Johnson County Parks and Rec District is in the middle of their Kill Creek Master Plan. If you had a chance last Saturday, they had an open house that was pretty informative. They're asking for input, so I just wanted to bring that to the council's attention. And the survey here is down below. You can take their survey, and they're just looking for ideas. They're getting a lot of this U-shaped land here, and they're looking for ideas to redevelop that land. So with that, I will always make my plug for the Property Tax Relief Fund. There's still some money in there, but outside of that, I'll turn it back to you, Mayor.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. Was able to attend the open house. When I was there, it was a popular event. There were a lot of folks there, so
Yeah,
a
I
lot
think
of interest in that potential parkland out at Sunflower.
my wife sent me the story in the back of my head, made the Shawnee Mission Post. So, so it was well attended.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Patrick, anything for the council tonight?
Nothing for me. Thank you.
Brad?
Nothing, Mayor, thanks.
All right. Joe, we haven't heard from you tonight.
It's not a bad thing. So a couple items. So on 95th Street, closure between Kill Creek and Lexington. Work's been done. The concrete's been poured, so we're just waiting for concrete to get hard enough. So hopefully Saturday at the earliest, Sunday at the latest, it'll be open up. So come Monday morning, truck traffic will be heading
to normal.
back west. So that's good. And then August 21st, we will take bids for the 2025 Millwood Overlay Program and the Waverly Trail. So hopefully either the first or second council meeting in September, we'll bring those bids hopefully for acceptance there within our budget.
All right.
So that's my spec.
Thank you. Council comments. Brad, did I give you a chance? Did I skip
Yeah,
you?
you sure did.
Okay.
I declined.
Council comments. Danny, anything for the group
I'm
tonight?
fine tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Victoria? Rhonda?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, I was just going to mention the Kill Creek Master Plan study, and it's a couple more weeks, I think, on that survey. So take a minute to get your thoughts shared with the county. And that's all I got.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we're adjourned.
You can reverse.
I'll share my